Welcome back to our channel. Today is day 5 of our 30-day video series, and today we are talking about taxonomy, not to be confused with taxology. This is an easy mistake to make as they share the same root word tax. Tax was most likely taken from the Latin word taxare, which means to evaluate or to assess. When you put that together with onomy, which means law, you get assessment of or evaluation of a law. Taxonomists, who are the biologists who classify organisms, get to define that law and get to group organisms into categories based on certain groupings and characteristics. Starting at the top, we have more general ideas of the groups that the taxonomists created, but when we move further down our list, the requirements for each level become more specific. The top bar is for domain. Domain is the most inclusive of our groupings, and domain has 3 sections. Within domain there is bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Bacteria are prokaryotes, have no nucleus, no cell membrane, but they do have DNA. Archaea are also prokaryotes, but strangely they have more in common with eukaryotes. And our last section in domain is eukarya, organisms that have characteristics that we talked about in yesterday's video, like DNA and nucleuses. Under domain, we have kingdom, and kingdom is our second group, but is often subject to changes, and the ideas about kingdoms change over time, and with more evidence and input and new species that need to be classified or reclassified, kingdoms will continue to change. In this video, we talk about the 5-kingdom model, which includes 4 eukaryotic kingdoms, and Monera, which is a combination of archaea and bacteria species. But for now, let's focus on the 4 eukaryotic kingdoms. Our first kingdom is Protista, home to protists. Protists are organisms that are often very similar to other organisms in the plant or animal kingdoms, as well as the fungi and Monera kingdoms, but often lack the proper amount of characteristics or all characteristics to be classified as one of those. Next we have fungi. Most fungi are multicellular. And after fungi we have plantae, which is home to all plants. Plants for the most part are multicellular and have cell walls. Our last eukaryotic kingdom is Animalia, and Animalia is home to lots of the creatures and organisms that you know today. Cats, dogs, snakes, horses, and camels are just some of the animals on our Earth. The Animalia kingdom is home to mostly multicellular organisms, which means they have more than one cell. The next groupings get more and more specific as you go down or up depending on your model. But our first grouping, domain, is the largest and most inclusive, and species, our last grouping, is the most specific. Did you know that every species has 2 names? They have a common name, like cat or dog, but they also have a scientific name. A man named Carl Linnaeus created this naming system, which is called binomial nomenclature, which, if you break the word down into roots, means 2-name system of naming. This is because a scientific name has 2 parts. The first represents the organism's genus, and the second represents its more specific species within that genus. For example, a bobcat is named Lynx rufus, their genus is Lynx, which includes other species of lynx and bobcats, and rufus is the specific species of bobcat. To go through a full example, we will use the bobcat and go through all of its classification. Starting at the top, the bobcat is part of the eukarya domain, as it is an animal. Its kingdom is Animalia, again about it being an animal, and its phylum is Chordata, the phylum of reptiles, sharks, vertebrae, and more. Its class is Carnivora, which means these animals focus mostly on eating meat. Its order is Mammalia, consists of animals that have the ability to nurse their young and have fur or hair. Next, it's part of the Felidae family, which consists of other cats such as lions, tigers, and cougars. And like we mentioned before, its genus is Lynx and its species is Rufus. That's all for today's video. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in to tomorrow's video. We'll have some more exciting content about your environment and the world around you. And with that, subscribe if you like, and until later, keep yearning for learning.